Welcome, everyone. I'm Dennis Moll. I'm the programming lead at Fresno City College, and I'm here to present a 15-minute video on what a program is and hopefully get you interested in programming here at Fresno City College. In simplest terms, a program is a set of instructions that tells a computer how to compute. So you can see the 3 steps here. Define the task, write the instructions, and get a result. That's what a computer program does. We generally break things down in a computer program into input, processing, and output. Here at Fresno State College, we have a lot of programming classes, and I'm sure that we have something for everyone. We have recently revamped and modernized our web developer program. This is a 4-semester pathway. It starts with Intro to AI and Web Development and ends with Agentic AI. Also, you see in the fine print there are my classes. Every semester, I teach Intro to Python, Java, and C++. Python is always online, so I would recommend that you squeeze that into your schedule one way or another. And Java and C++, they alternate semesters being face-to-face and online. And in any event, talk with your classmates, talk with your counselors, and ask your professor which course is best for you right now. So many questions like this and so much disinformation out there. And I realize, AI can be a scary thing. And all of these thought bubbles here are inaccurate. First of all, you are smart enough to code. Second of all, AI cannot write all the code. And thirdly, even if you're not going to be a programmer, just as an educated citizen in this technological evolution that we are going through with AI, it is nice to understand a little bit about what programming actually is. And if someone can tell me what that is on the board, if you were in my class, I would give you bonus points.
It's actually Python code too on the board.
Today, I'm going to be demonstrating an actual program. It's going to be a payroll program, and I'll break it into input, processing, and output in a second, but we're going to use a language called Python. And Python is literally everywhere. It's free. If you have a Mac, it's installed on the Mac automatically, and it's an easy download. It is truly a friendly first language, and it's also an advanced language. So a lot of the generative AI API examples, that means programming with their interface, most of the examples are in actually Python. So you can do more than just create the hello world program with Python. And it's extremely useful. And I'm going to be demonstrating what is called an IDE, Integrated Development Environment, named PyCharm. It looks a little overwhelming, but I don't want you to get stressed about using PyCharm. It's just a nice text editor that understands Python.
It has code complete, and it can be definitely overwhelming at first. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed when you're using PyCharm. Just know that as you grow into it, you'll appreciate the advanced features it has.
Here's our slide on input processing and output. So we're going to develop a payroll program for 3 minors. You'll see their names in a second, but you will you will get input, and the input will be the minor's name and the hours worked per week. Then you're going to have to code up some processing. You're going to have to decide if the minor worked overtime, and if he did work overtime, what was the rate that he would be paid. And you also have to take out taxes. That's processing. And then finally, we will output the results of the processing in a payroll report.
The caption here is a little bit sanitized. It used to be in the old medieval days of computing GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. But it was still the same concept, input, processing, and output. So if your input is clean and your data is accessible, you're going to have better output.
Here's our customers. So the doc is in charge, and yeah, he actually presents you with a programming challenge at the end here. He wants to give his crew a raise, and I forget what other task. Oh, he wants to add uh, more people. So that's would be his recommendation to you as a programmer. But anyway, we have Grumpy. He worked 48 hours, so we're going to owe him some overtime. Happy worked a regular week of 40 hours, and Sleepy worked 33 hours. This is going to be our input, just the worker's name and the hours that they worked for that week.
I got to tell you a story about this slide here. This slide was incredibly difficult, and it was difficult because the prompts that I was giving ChatGPT, that's what I use for the slides here. It kept telling me that um, it had what I wanted. All I wanted was the name and the hours on the time cards. And I think it had printed them to its mind on the other side. And finally, I got it. I figured it out. I knew I had to communicate with this AI in pictures. So I took a picture of what I wanted, which is more or less what Doc has there. And sure enough, that worked. So, and how did I know that? The only reason I knew that was because I, I know how these machines are. And at least for now, because they cannot really think on their own yet, supposedly. But if you tinker with them long enough, you'll debug it. So I just had to speak the language of ChatGPT that was in the image processing language. So anyway, that's a lot for this slide, and you can see AI is still a struggle, even with coding with AI. When someone tells you we don't need programmers anymore, no, now we need programmers more than ever.
The memory of a computer program is called a variable. Variables actually give data a name. Um, the technical definition of a variable is a named location in memory. So there you go. So variables that's how a computer program has memory. So some of the values we know, like we know the worker's name and we know the hours that that worker has worked. We also know the pay rate and we also know the tax rate. Some values have to be calculated, like the regular pay, which would be hours times pay rate, overtime pay, we're going to have to use a decision there in our processing to decide if overtime pay is required. And gross pay we need because we have to take taxes out, and then finally net pay. So some variables are with values we know, and other variables are used with values that will be processed or calculated. So 3 time cards, 3 employees. And I do like the note here. Good variable names make programs easier to read, test, and change.
So 3 time cards, and let's see what happens to those time cards. You can see here, I just didn't, I just did not have the time to fight with AI to put Sleepy 33, Grumpy 48 on these time cards. It was enough. But this is a nice graphic here. The time cards will actually become part of these folders here. And these folders are basically a hash map. Python calls them a dictionary. So that's how we keep all the information together. So you can see that over here. Uh, we have a record called Sleepy Record. It starts with this opening French brace and ends with the closing French brace. So we know it's a key value key value pair. But we can't just uh, we have to order our data. So these are called data structures right here. Um, this is a data structure called a dictionary. Like I say, like the note says, it's a hash map. And this is used all the time in Python is the list. And the list is wonderful. You can see the list begins with a square bracket and ends with a square bracket. And you can have lists inside lists. Here we have lists of dictionaries. So it's wonderful data organization.
The 3 time cards that Doc had is in his hand in the other slide, now they appear here. And they appear here like they're ready to go into a folder. So remember the time card, it only has two pieces of information. It has the worker name and the hours worked. So we're going to keep track of that. We need to keep those two items of information together. And we do that with what's called a hash map. In Python, it's called a dictionary. So here's an example of that. So the sleepy record is a dictionary. It has a key and a value, or a name and a value pair. So the name value pair is employee name and sleepy. And then of course, another name value pair is hours worked in 33. So this key value, name value pairs, that's pretty much how computer programs move data around. So I really like this slide because it shows how our program is organized. So the time cards become a dictionary, one dictionary per miner, and the dictionaries are all stored in a list. So the list.
Oh, I was trying to pause that there. If this was an advanced class or if it was a regular Python class, we would actually make it object oriented and we would create objects out of the uh, out of the time cards. But nonetheless, with the dictionary and dictionaries and a list, Python did a great job of it, and the code you'll see is really efficient. Here's another AI. I fought with the AI to have the original um, miners here. Usually, I'm kind of safe as long as I stay in the same chat. If I get out of the new chat and I give an AI an image and say edit this, no, it's just that's just asking for trouble. But I was in the same chat here and it still switched up my miners and uh, the chart, I'm not real happy with this um, uh, flow chart. It is accurate, but um, when you take one of my programming classes, we'll actually show you how to uh, make flow charts that can be um, really clear at a glance. I mean, this is accurate, right? We're going to actually have to get input for 3 times. And then here's, I like the for each loop. And here we decide if we have, you know, overtime or not. So we'll skip my narration here.
This is not one of my favorite slides.
It's not one of my favorite slides. Um, that this is a little better. Here's my minors. Here I got my minors back. I think I had to fight with it a little bit to find the original diamond miners.
This is actual Python code. This is actual Python code. This is how we get user input. Surprisingly enough, keyword is input. So when you are the user and you see a prompt that says name, you enter that name. The name would get assigned to this variable, employee name. And then you're also going to see another prompt that says hours. You type in number of hours for that employee, and the value that you typed in is going to be assigned to this variable named hours worked. And then we create a dictionary, one dictionary per minor. It's called a minor record. And here's that name value pair. So it has employee name, and this it seems a little confusing here. Employee name, employee name. What the heck does that mean? This is just the variable. This variable has a value, right? So the value, could be sleepy, it could be happy, or it could be grumpy,
Whatever the
whatever.
user input.
Anyway, that is the value of this key will be, sleepy, grumpy, or happy.
But
And okay, so that's input. And then
this is the same
processing, we have to
variable. It's just a
calculate pay.
variable.
We get to use an if statement here. That's a decision. And we also, my sample program does not use update. I just skipped a few steps of processing, and I updated the miners' dictionaries uh, sooner, so I don't have to use the update method. But the slide is still accurate, and this is still accurate Python code. Okay, and then finally output. Notice the for, this is called a for each. So for each miner's dictionary in the minor list, do this. So notice there's no numbers here. So the for each list works really well. It just will go start at the beginning of the list, and it will uh, process until it reaches the end of the list. So we could have 3 or 300 miners.
One last thing about Python syntax. Python syntax usually uses what's called snake style, which means you have an underscore that separate the words. Here, this is called camel style or camelback style. We use that in Java and C++. So I don't know why I started with it for this video, but I did. But so please don't say bad things about me for. I do understand that snake style is the style for Python, but I just thought it would be a little bit easier for this programming intro to programming video. Um, so the live PyCharm demo, I'll show you. I'm getting a little bit long here. I'll show you how it looks. I've really tried to get you the source code in a lot of different places. So I think if your instructor allows time for this, is to get PyCharm installed on one of the classroom machines. For sure, it'll work. And if you're taking it online, install PyCharm and then, do whatever the heck you want. But um, uh, I would try to download the code. I'll put it in the comments of eventually this will be a YouTube video, so I'll put it in the comments there, and I should put a public GitHub repository link for you. And I've just old-fashioned copied and pasted at the end of this video, just word for word, so you can see what it looks like. But we'll see how much.
Okay, time for a live demonstration.
Yeah, we'll see how this live demonstration. Maybe I'll watch about half of it.
Hi, everyone. This is a 3-minute demo, a live demo
It's about a
using
6-minute demo.
PyCharm. PyCharm is absolutely free. You can see I'm even using the trial version here. I do have the source code in the description of the YouTube video. So I think a nice goal for today, if you're in class, is to download that, get a free version of PyCharm working, and copy and paste that into PyCharm. I don't need to see my project here. So this is what our Python program looks like.
There's variables.
These are comments here. Comments are ignored by the compiler, but they serve a very useful function, and that is not only do they communicate information about your program to other people, but they communicate information to you after you've forgotten what you have coded from week to week. Here's that input section. This is probably the most important line here, line 33. This is where that container that holds the folders in that slide. Remember there was a slide, I think it was holding 3 time cards. 3 time cards went into 3 folders, and those folders were in this big old mining container. And anyway, that container is right here. It's called miner data, and the square brackets mean that it is a list.
Python
So this is how this
keep
program
with
works.
lists.
You create a list that
Python
holds
uses
the
lists
miner's
all the
records.
time.
That's the dictionaries or those folders. This is the container on the slide that contain the folders of each miner's data. Python is wonderful. It uses these for each loops. They're really, really easy to use. It's a repetition control structure. It means everything that is indented here, in this case, is going to happen 3 times. So you'll see that when I run the program, it will ask me for 3 names and 3 quantities of hours. Now here, this for each, now that we have actually created our list, we can use dictionary in list name. So this says for each folder in that container that had the 3 folders called a list in miner data, do this. So we don't know, this could be 300, right? But we know it's going to be 3.
Could be
The
3,000.
main thing is this for each loop is going to actually look at every single dictionary that it finds in miner data. In our case, it's going to be 3. And here's that same code again for dictionary in list. Do this. This is where we calculate
Right?
our
Isn't that
hours.
elegant?
And then once we figure out regular pay, overtime pay, gross pay, tax amount, net pay, that all becomes a value in the key value pairs of the miner's dictionary.
I think if you just spend a few minutes just looking at
And
this
then
program,
it's time to
you'll see the
output.
pattern.
Here's that for each loop again. For the dictionary, for each dictionary in minor data list, do this stuff. And this stuff is just getting the data out of the dictionaries into variables. And I even changed the name so I wouldn't confuse anyone. And then I output them here. Okay, so let's make our output area larger and see if this program works. So sleepy 33, oops, sleepy, that would be maybe an advanced
Yeah, modify the
challenge.
program to take
Grumpy
the name and the hours
worked, I think, 48.
rather
and
than
happy
having the user do it
worked
on 2
40.
lines.
Okay, ta-da. There's our program. Here are all of those statements. If you look at them, you can see they come in threes, right? So we have sleepy, grumpy, happy, sleepy, grumpy, happy, and finally sleepy, grumpy, happy. All right, I think I'm over 3 minutes, but this will conclude my live demo on PyCharm. Well, it looks like we're a little bit over our 15-minute time limit, but hopefully not
I think it's
too
like
much.
40 minutes.
Let me answer some of these questions. Can AI help? Yes, AI can help you find and install PyCharm. Which programming class is right for me? You'll kind of know it. You'll know it when you talk to people, talk to your professors about it. And um, uh, counselors can be very helpful also. PyCharm is free. You saw in my video demo, I actually used the trial version. There is a PyCharm community edition that's not even a trial, it's just free. And I did use my MacBook Pro for that. So what I would do, I have all the source code. I tried to put the source code in as many places as I could. It's actually at the end of this slide deck, and you can copy and paste it there. When this becomes a YouTube video, I'll actually post um, uh, I'll post the source code to the description in the YouTube video. So I think the best way is to start PyCharm. It's not you're not going to have to open up your pocketbook to use PyCharm, and you can uh, copy and paste my source code in there and try to get the program working, or you can start from scratch. I wouldn't really, just do the Hello World program or something like that. If you're just do something easy. This is a little bit of a advanced program, but hopefully it gives you a feel for what you can do with a program. So thanks a lot for watching, and I certainly hope you try programming for yourself at Fresno City College and ask your professor which programming class is right for you.
Definitely. And here's the code. A lot of comments, so it's mainly comments. So thanks for hanging in there, and stop by, let's see, in the fall semester. I'm face to face. So Java and C++ are face to face. So I'm on campus a lot. So let's end that.